So last night I wrote a song based on a line from one of my plays about the great outdoors. It's just a barbed wire fence, and this is the really powerful thing with AI. So I came up with this poem last night, and then within 40 minutes I had this song. So this is called Exodus.
Chang bought a van and decked it out, showed us all, had all he needed. Could park it anywhere, free as a bird. But when he flew, he found out fast that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence. I'm not staying here when the shit goes south, and the shit seems to be already here. I've a backpack with all my needs. Trouble is, when I dream, all I find is that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence. I'm sure my grandfather left freedom here, unless my eyes were open when I was born. But this world has left me blind. Is that right? Mother, am I blind? I'm sure I smelled freedom once in the backwood forests of your eyes. Hide, you said, hide with me, or how else will we ever live free? There's an exodus heading out of town. Their faces are up, but their eyes are down. There's a sun that seems to be shining upside down, and around and around, upside is a barbed wire fence.
What miserable son of a bitch wrote that? It was me. Hey. Okay, it's a big one tonight.
So much going on. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Happy Father's Day to everyone out there. Yeah.
Yes,
I saw all the fathers that are disconnected from their families for various reasons. Maybe they had a quieter day. Happy Father's Day to you, brother. We got stickers. It's fine, it's a sticker. There's but yeah, we got stickers. 5 for 25, I think, and includes postage. But we put them up on the website, and our website has a Printful store, and Printful store just takes it. And so they're going, yeah, like they own it. I'm going, hang on, it's our product. We manufactured that. So at the moment, there's nowhere to buy it. So we're going to put it on Facebook Marketplace, which was Kelly was supposed to have done today. So hopefully she's onto that. And so we'll have a link for you in the next few days. But they're great, man. We got the first one is on the bus, and that comes apart, pulls out. So you can stick it. Oh, how do I do that? I don't know how I did that. Anyway, there's and so yeah, so stickers. So yeah.
Very cool. I do love the blue bee.
Yeah, man, it's taking off. It's
The
getting
blue bee of freedom.
Yeah, beautiful, man. The blue bee of freedom. That's it. And I think with what I think now is like we've got the Nazis, and the mainstream media is painting us with the Nazis, and then they're painting us with sovereign citizens. It's like we're two-tone. Domestic terrorists. Post-COVID domestic terrorists and archaic Nazis sort of put together, just sort of double up the evil.
But they had me at anti-government policy and anti-vax, really, honestly.
I just wish they'd call me a Sith Lord. I could live with that,
Yeah.
So
anyway. I made it clear, I'm a sovereign individual. Don't get confused with the other one. Yeah.
Me too. I'm a blue bee. I don't live in a hive. I don't follow a queen, but I pollinate flowers by vibrating over them. I was doing it over some petunias just before. Now, this, just with the bee, though, what I'm saying is, I think something like this becomes our symbol. You call us anti-vaxxers because they're giving us an identity because we haven't actually put out an identity. We don't have a uniform. We don't really have a Swift.
Michael, are those neo-Nazi blue bees? I mean,
you know how long I've sat here with the rubber rubbing off the swastikas? I tell you, these bees. Yeah.
You have to look really close under the microscope. But
that's right. It's nanobots swastikas.
Now, freedom is freedom, and sovereignty is sovereignty, and informed consent and bodily autonomy. That's what I've been talking about for a long time. And your song talks about
we free bees.
Yeah, we're free bees. The barbed wire fence. Well, one of the worst things around COVID was when they started to say, stay at home. You need permission to move anywhere.
Yeah.
It's an issue.
Well, that's kind of what they want. Now, there's another thing too that came out today. I think it's really important. I don't know if I can share it, but it's a young man who claims that they got the digital ID, and the only software they have that is up to the task of monitoring all our data from facial recognition is China's system. I swear to God. It's China's system.
Maybe Dan Andrews had to deal with him because wasn't he recently in Beijing?
Yeah.
So he probably uses their services.
He's got the record for the longest run up with a hand. He's got his hand out. He's like running from the other side of the oval, like this. They must turn around. I mean, we don't like Dan Andrews, but they must turn around to each other, go, turn around to his wife and go, the Xi Jinping, whatever, ping pong ball. So there's, it's just, yeah, I know, Liz. We're having an issue with the link. We'll get a link tomorrow about the things. That's hey, Fratello, how you doing, brother? Anyway, tonight's show is different. We're going to be discussing this. So do you want to play the funny one, or you want to just do the opening speech first?
Whatever you want.
Well, let's do the opening speech, and then we'll do a breakdown of these. So we've got a few of these. We were going to play the whole 3 hours and just sit on the sidelines and take the piss, but we actually thought it'd be more interesting to narrow it down and then take the piss of that. So anyway, here we go.
At this time.
Thank you, Chairman Crapo, and thank you, Ranking Member Wyden, for the invitation to appear before the committee today. Before I summarize what we've accomplished this year at HHS, I want to express my deepest condolence to the family of DeKalb County Police Officer David Rose, who gave his life to stop the gunfire attack on the CDC on August 8th. Officer Rose was a veteran. He was a husband and the father of 2 children. Officer Rose's widow, whom I visited, is expecting their 3rd child. I'd like Officer Rose's family to know that he remains in our prayers and that he will continue to be in our thoughts. Let me start with the big picture. Under President Trump's leadership, we at HHS are enacting a once-in-a-generation shift from a sick care system to a true healthcare system that tackles the root causes of chronic disease. Chronic diseases reach crisis proportions in our country. And finally, we have an administration that is taking action. The MAHA report assessment, which the White House released in May, was the first government analysis of the key drivers of childhood chronic disease: ultra-processed foods, chemical exposures, physical inactivity, and over-medicalization. This month, we will follow with the MAHA report strategy, the Trump administration's solution for addressing each cause. At HHS, we haven't just been writing reports. We have been the busiest, most proactive administration in HHS history. In just half a year, we've taken on food dyes, baby formula contamination, the grass loophole, fluoride in our drinking water, gas station heroin, electronic cigarettes, drug prices, prior authorization, information blocking.
It takes over 3 months to get a prior authorization. Senator Kennedy, do you know something?
The committee will come to order.
I believe that's Hillary Clinton.
I apologize to you for that outburst, Secretary Kennedy. I would notify everyone else in the audience. Comments from the audience are inappropriate. If there are any further disruptions, the committee will recess until the police can restore order. Mr. Secretary, please proceed.
As I was saying, prior authorization, information blocking, and healthcare interoperability. We're ending gain-of-function research, child mutilation, and reducing animal testing. We are addressing cell phone use in schools, excessive screen time for youth, the lack of nutrition education in our medical schools, sickle cell anemia, hepatitis C, the East Palestine chemical spill, and many, many others. At FDA, we are now on track to approve more drugs this year than at any time in history. I'm also proud to say that HHS under President Trump is doing more with less. We have taken measures to fight waste, fraud, and abuse. Just by eliminating duplicative enrollments in CMS, we are saving taxpayers $14 billion a year. Meanwhile, we are expanding access for people who need it. We are ending racist, diversity, equity, and inclusion practices and instead focusing on aiding low-income and vulnerable families, regardless of their race, which was the original intent of Title X. We're also pouring $1 billion into Head Start and the Administration for Children and Families. Compassion need not be the casualty of efficiency.
That's nice.
I'd like to highlight some issues that have not gotten media attention. First, we are doing our part to fulfill the President's commitment to stop human trafficking, especially of children. We inherited a terrible humanitarian crisis from the previous administration with its open border policies, which allowed the appalling loss of 476,000 unaccompanied children. We have implemented policies now to ensure that that appalling tragedy can never happen again. We have knocked on 82,000 doors and located 22,000 of those children. I promise you that we will do more in the next 3 years. We are also addressing the disastrous health conditions in tribal communities on Native American reservations. I've met face-to-face with tribal leaders in dozens of communities and tribes in Alaska, Arizona, Idaho, New Mexico, and elsewhere. And I look forward to making HHS resources more available to those communities. One of the most significant initiatives under President Trump is the Rural Health Transformation Fund, part of the president's big, beautiful bill, which will provide the greatest investment of federal money into rural health care in history. Finally, I would like to address the recent shakeups at CDC. These changes were absolutely necessary adjustments to restore the agency to its role as the world's gold standard public health agency with the central mission of protecting Americans from infectious disease. CDC failed that responsibility miserably during COVID, when its disastrous and nonsensical policies destroyed small businesses, violated civil liberties, closed our schools, caused generational damage in doing so, massed infants with no science, and heightened economic inequality. And yet all those oppressive and unscientific interventions failed to do anything about the disease itself. America is home to 4.2% of the world's population, yet we had nearly 20% of the COVID deaths. We literally did worse than any country in the world. And the people at CDC who oversaw that process, who put masks on our children, who closed our schools, are the people who will be leaving. And that's why we need bold, competent, and creative new leadership at CDC. People able and willing to chart a new course. As my father once said, progress is a nice word, but change is its motivator, and change has its enemies. That's why we need new blood at CDC. That's also why it's imperative that we remove officials with conflicts of interest and catastrophically bad judgment and political agendas. We need unbiased, politics-free, transparent, evidence-based science in the public interest. Those are the guiding principles behind the changes at the CDC, and that is what you can expect all across our agency for the next 3 years.
Okay, that's it. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think it was the most exciting of clips, except talking about the children, and the missing children, and actually, hunting them down, finding them, because under the previous regime, just so many tens of thousands, over, just some ridiculous number of kids just went missing. So, so I thought that was really good, and of course, but I think he warms up. This is still early on in his testimony. It certainly heats up, and I noticed Robin's not a big fan of JFK.
Shall we play one of the small ones?
Yeah, throw something else on.
We were lied to about everything. We were lied to about natural immunity. We were lied to about, we were told again and again the vaccines would prevent transmission, they'd prevent infection. It wasn't true. They knew it from the start it wasn't true, because that's what the animal studies and the clinical trials showed. We were told that there was science behind cloth masks. The CDC allowed the teachers union to write the order closing our schools, which hurt working people all over the country, and then pretend it was science-based.
Yeah, well, they're great points, aren't they?
So that's pretty big.
Masks and lockdowns were bullshit. Yeah, that should annoy people. The masking of kids was an abomination on so many levels.
And they just made it up.
So many levels of stupidity and corruption, that they flagged the science. That's why I say I call that sort of science because you pronounce it with a $sign instead of an S.
Yeah. Oh, here's another one.
I could sit here and give you thousands. But in 2002, CDC did an internal study of Atlanta, Fulton County, Georgia children, and looked at children who got the MMR vaccine on time and compared those to kids who got them later. So in other words, kids who got them before 36 months and kids who got them afterward. The data from that study showed that black boys who got the vaccine on time had a 260% greater chance of getting an autism diagnosis than children who waited. The chief scientist on that, Dr. William Thompson, the senior vaccine safety scientist at CDC, was ordered to come into a room with 4 other co-authors by his boss, Frank DeStefano, who's the head of the Immunization Safety Branch, and ordered to destroy that data. And then they published it without that fact. So you know that story, I know that story, and you know of hundreds of stories like that. It happens all the time. We are being lied to by these agencies, and we're going to change that right now. I'll just tell you one example, and I could sit here and give you thousands. But in 2000.
Well, that's doubled up for some reason. So anyway,
Yeah.
that is huge. So basically,
I mean,
they knew
vaccines
vaccines
cause
cause autism, and they hid the data from you. If you've got an autistic kid, they've just outed that they knew. They knew. What are your thoughts on that, Paul?
Well, some of us have heard the name Thompson, and yeah, he was ordered, but he kept a backup, and then eventually his conscience got the better of him. But remember, the vaccines are safe and effective. So why is it that if you hold off the MMR vaccine, especially in black boys, there's such an effect on the autism rate? You know, so it's starting to. It shows the vaccine association with autism and an effect of delaying the shot. So you know, one of the issues is they give the Hep B vaccine at birth, and it just seems insane. But we'll have clips of that too. It was quite rich, all the things that came out in the testimony. But
I'm going to play the whole testimony and stream all of it. Everyone wants to watch that. It's 3.5 hours long. Here's a guy who doesn't like Kennedy.
To sharing the protocols used for the autism study with Congress and to the public?
They're public.
Will you commit to giving it to this committee by the end of the week?
No, not because that's not the way it works.
Will you
don't even know what you're talking about.
Mr. Secretary, will you commit to sharing the protocols for the study by the end of the month?
We already have
You just said it's public.
We put out the notice of funding opportunities, and then the scientists from all over the world.
You're not understanding me. Let me say clearly
you're not understanding how the world works.
Do you understand what the protocols are? Do you understand what they are?
The scientists who are doing the studies submit the protocol.
Okay, so you know
that's
what
not
they
coming
are.
from us.
So will you commit to sharing those protocols with this committee?
Well, anybody can get a hold of the protocol. It's published with the study.
Mr. Chairman, what I'd like to ask is for your commitment here.
I think what Kennedy was trying to say was, you're a fuckhead. You little pharmaceutical whore.
It just not understanding what is going on. It's quite
so he's got a big pharma up his ass going, just say something.
He's focused on the protocol.
Right.
But it's in the public. It's going to be.
Up your phone, moron. It's right there on your phone. Grok it.
So he was. Michael, I wanted to address. Can we do a quick segue? I wanted to address the title. You said AHPRA. I told you.
Oh yeah, sorry, right? That was me, AHPRA. That was me. It's called clickbait.
I didn't choose that heading. No, I don't care. I don't care what AHPRA does to me. But a few days ago, Michael, was the 4th anniversary of my suspension of my medical license. It's a sacred day, and I nearly forgot. This was the post I did on that day, and I just to show you how far things have gone in 4 years. Let me play Doc Malik's clip here with
because we know that Moderna, Pfizer, the big pharma, they were all working very hard. They wanted these gene therapy techs out there, but they couldn't get people to volunteer for tests. They couldn't get people to volunteer for the studies necessary to do it because nobody wanted their genes edited. So this was something that was talked about publicly prior to the COVID nonsense, prior to the mRNA nonsense, prior to everything. There were a number of times, there's a real famous clip of one of the executives, I think the CEO for Janssen or something like that, talking about how, gene therapy is the future. We can't get anybody to volunteer for the testing, though. Well, here's the thing. This tech has been around for a while, but it was never tested. It was never properly developed because nobody wanted their genes edited. And there's a huge risk because, if mRNA does integrate into the genome, which more and more evidence is suggesting that it has and does to some extent, what does that do to humanity on a permanent basis? And that's a real question, right? To this day, nobody's answering it because the FDA is doing the same thing the FDA has always done, which is avoid studying anything that might be uncomfortable. Right. That's how it is that we have no real links between autism and vaccines because they won't study it. It's not that it's not there. They just don't want to study it. Right. And the studies that are put out are usually industry-based or back studies that are fake and nonsensical and just based on garbage in, garbage out.
So Michael, that's this year. Now, I just wanted to contrast it with what I told the medical council at my emergency suspension hearing for, and just a few quotes from there. After they'd asked me, am I getting vaccinated? And I said, yeah, I'm getting vaccinated. I've been vaccinated. Are you vaccinated? I'm vaccinated, all sorts of things, just not this. So I said, summing up, I said, so I think there is an issue with mandating a therapy where there are signals of harm, where the long-term data is not known, and where because it was approved under emergency use in the USA as a vaccine, it meant it didn't have the normal panel of tests that you would normally do for a gene therapy. And gene therapies have their own panel of tests that they need to go through. And so far, none of them, outside of people dying of cancer, having mRNA immunotherapy approaches to treat them, because they're dying and they've got a serious life-threatening illness, have had these therapies used investigationally for treatment. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about massive global, not even global elective, but globally coordinated to completely vaccinate everyone. And I think we as a profession have to be cognizant of informed consent and patient autonomy. These are things I've learned all through my career.
Yeah.
And it's the focus of our ethics training and our practice, and even your practice as a board, to make sure we provide patients with informed consent and we maintain bodily autonomy. And I don't think you can have informed consent can exist in an environment of coercion or censorship or even limiting open debate. So I'm concerned with limiting discussions over treatments or therapies where the potential for harm is actually extraordinary. So that's what I told the medical council. And doesn't it sound so much
It
like
sounds that's amazing, Paul. Yeah, I mean, it's just, we were talking about this today, about how the truth is just, some people just don't want it. Yeah.
It's not about truth, man. We're not talking about truth anymore. We're not even arguing data anymore. Much. Do you know what it is? We're discussing whether or not we are free or we're slaves. Whether we have the right to say no to a government mandate. And Trump didn't respond. I've got another post here of Joseph Ladapo, the Florida Surgeon General, who said we're going to end all vaccine mandates in Florida, which is huge news, And then unfortunately, Trump did a response to it, which was very disappointing because it went, oh, well, some people like vaccines and some actually work, we think, and they're wonderful. So we want to reserve the right to just say, you fucking take it. You serve, That's how I read it. That's how I read it. It's a question of, are you have you got your own bodily autonomy? Are you free to say no to a medical
You
treatment?
said sovereign.
What?
You said sovereign.
Yeah, sovereign
No,
individual.
I don't say that word anymore.
Sovereign individual is fine. Look it up in the same Wikipedia that page that that ASIO sends you to for sovereign citizen movement. You'll see there's a link there which says not to be confused with sovereign individual, which is all about bodily autonomy.
Yep, I get it, man.
This is for ASIO because they probably know this stuff, but you know,
Even our B is sovereign.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Okay, I feel a little bit better having got that off my chest.
I mean, people don't realize how powerful you were to say that then, and how tragic it was that they wouldn't listen, and then how you've had to bear the grief and burden of watching it unfold, knowing that you warned them all. It's like the lookout on the Titanic going iceberg, 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 and the captain calling up, no, it's okay, I'll just have it on the rocks. You know,
it's not a burden, Michael. It was an honor they gave me, one that I didn't expect, didn't want.
Yeah, it's a good way to see it.
But I don't know why they, you know, my 50 Facebook followers.
I'm not sure we could use that in the marketing end. Not at the moment.
So look,
can we make that bigger?
Because I mentioned it, Michael.
But what I'm most excited about is an announcement that we're going to make, that we're making now, which is that the Florida Department of Health, in partnership with the governor, is going to be working to end all vaccine mandates in Florida law. All of them. All of them.
Wow, man.
That's what freedom looks like, Michael.
All of them.
Medical freedom. Not what Orange Man.
Every last one of them.
Yeah, sorry, Paul. He links them to slavery. I thought he says vaccine mandates are a form of slavery.
Yes. I'll play it again if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Every last one of them. Yeah.
Every last one of them, man. That's amazing.
Yeah. Every last one of them. All of them.
Wow. Amazing they haven't killed him.
Every last one of them. Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Okay?
Yep.
Who am I as a government or anyone else, or who am I as a man standing here now to tell you what you should put in your body? Who am I to tell you what your child should put in your body?
Dad. Amazing, Dr.
I don't
Dad.
have that right.
It's just
your body,
incredible.
Your body is a gift from God. What you put into your body, is because of your relationship with your body and your God. I don't have that right. Government does not have that right. They want you to believe they have that right. And unfortunately, they've been successful. They've been successful.
Oh, so yeah, what a great clip, hey?
Huge, man. That's huge.
It's good, but I'll see if I can find a tweet where I compared that with what Donald Trump said, you know, and he was asked to comment on it, and it was very disappointing because, you know, effectively he was saying, I'd like him to put it in his own words if I can find it, but it's not about the data. Basically, I said to Donald, it's not about the data. It's not about whether the vaccines work. It's not about whether it's not even about whether they have side effects. What it's about is what Latipo was saying was your right to informed consent, which means no thank you, I don't want that fucking shit. I mean, that's it. That's
Thank you.
informed consent, as I understand it.
Yeah.
And that,
And so
that
if you want
apparently
to
makes
take
you
it,
stop.
take it. You know?
Yeah. The right to your bodily autonomy. That's what Latipo was saying. And notice he referred to a higher power. You know,
Yeah.
the Constitution of America was based on this idea that the people had inalienable rights, God-given rights. The rights didn't come from government. The rights were there. That's what inalienable means. The government doesn't give it. And you had people at that hearing with Kennedy who were clearly of the mindset that, oh, no, we make the laws, you have the rights that we give you in the laws. No, the government isn't the source of freedom, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, actually, because I'll just play the Bernie one. I got two more.
Oh, before you do, I want to play the one that we missed from before.
Oh, yeah.
Just to give a sense, because this is the sort
we
of...
just have to tell the audience, because we've got RFK on, it's an RFK, and we're talking about vaccines and maybe the fact that they don't work. Tonight we are going for the award of Australia's most censored podcast show, just the category of a show. We're going, you know. Robin is sort of been ahead of us, you know. She's doing some pretty cool shit, and but tonight we're going for the Guernsey. So I don't expect anyone to be here.
Look, this is a perspective on it, which, you know, we haven't really got
Can you
so
make
far.
it big?
RFK just testified to the Senate Finance Committee, and the dude just rained fire and facts upon those corrupt Republicans and rhinos. They were all crying about all kinds of shit, vaccine this and fucking, oh, you're attacking my biggest contributor, Big Pharma. Bernie Sanders just pitching fits. Oh, do you think all these people are just corrupt? And RFK would just come back and he's like, yeah, the Big Pharma's bought off all of them. That's why we have to fire these people, because they all came from Big Pharma. He goes, do you see the conflict of interest there? And they're like, how can you just fire everybody at the CDC? What do you think this is? And fucking RFK just burns it down and is like, well, we are the sickest country in the entire world. And since the CDC is supposed to be like monitoring that, clearly they're not doing their job. So yeah, we better fire them all and get people in there that are more competent to do this job. Dude, he lit off the fucking dynamite and says like that he's going, just in a couple weeks, he says they're going to be dropping their report on why the kids are so sick and the high autism rates. He says early data back on the MMR, that's measles, mumps, rubella, huge. The earlier a kid gets that, the chances of autism through the fucking roof. 5 times worse if you are a black male. Black male babies, evidently, that is super bad for them. Like 5 times, and it's already like 200% more. The longer you wait on that vaccine, the better your chances. And evidently, girls are less susceptible to autism from that vaccine. Kennedy just was dropping bombs. Fucking Elizabeth Warren starts freaking out. Oh, you're going to take all the vaccines away from everybody. And he goes, no, we're just doing the testing and we're going to give you the data. And the ones that are bad for you, yeah, they're going to be, they're going to be banned. It is so, like, you get that? Like, they're all bad for you. So Elizabeth Warren's like in her fucking panic, like, no, we're not taking away all the vaccines. Well, we're just going to tell you how fucking bad they are for you and that they don't fucking do anything. How humans have been around for 120,000 years.
You said this, Michael.
We don't need vaccines to fucking survive. Do you understand that, people? Like, why in the fuck are we so sick? The human race has survived 120,000 years. Ice ages, plagues, all the worst this fucking world has to throw at us. And we were just fine, and we were a lot healthier before Big Pharma started sticking their fucking dirty dick in our ass. Oh, dude, RFK just brought bomb after bomb. He's like, well, right now we have a sick care system that just perpetuates unhealthiness. And he goes, so we're going to fire all these people, and we are going to create a true healthcare system. It's like, oh, wow. One of the Democrats started freaking out. He's like, yeah, you know what else we did? All the lost children. Somehow, Health and Human Services has those files. They're not with Homeland Security. RFK says, well, Health and Human Services has found 22,000 of the missing trafficked children. Oh my God, you should have heard the Democrats lose their fucking mind over that shit. Like the whole hearing is just fire. Go watch it because RFK needs to be the next president. Fuck JD Vance.
Yeah, I think so. And I'll be streaming this after this. I agree. So I'll be streaming that. But look, the big title match was. Should we just quickly do the Bernie?
Absolutely, we can.
No, I have to admit, I like both. I like Bernie Sanders. You know, I don't get his big pharma thing. I like Bernie Sanders and I like RFK. So these are like two. It's like one of those matches where I don't know which one I want to win, but I think I'm favoring RFK. I'm a bit star. I think if he came on, you'd be like going, you know,
what's the exchange and see if you're still as impressed with Bernie.
Yeah, let's go see. Yeah, I haven't.
Just want to pick up on Senator Warren's.
I won't do it that way. I'll do it because that way it gets rid of us. Let's. I've got him here. Which one is it? Here it is. Dun 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 dun. In the right corner, the truth. In the left corner,
Bernie had a bit of a significant slip.
Just want to pick up on Senator Warren's point. Are you telling us that the former head of CDC...
Just before we go, look at that face. That is fucking that gangster face, man. You know when those things come down in glasses? That is it. I'm not scared of you corrupt pricks. Bring it on. No fucking script. No one telling him what to say. He's just straight down the barrel. He's got that crooked voice. Doesn't let it bother him. I mean, this man's the bomb. I know Robin's
just
going
want to pick up on Senator Warren's point. Are you telling us that the former head of CDC went to you, you asked her, are you a trustworthy person? And she said, no, I am not a trustworthy person?
She didn't say, no, I'm not a trustworthy person. She said, no. I'm giving a quote. And I asked her twice.
No, 1 second. And you're also repeating now that she is a liar, correct? What you wrote in the Wall Street Journal.
If she wrote that I fired her because she refused to sign on in advance for the ASIP committee, no, that's not accurate.
All right, so you're calling her a liar, and I look forward to her coming before the Help Committee, maybe this committee as well. All right, Mr. Secretary, I've got a bunch of questions. Appreciate brevity in answering it.
Here we go.
So-called beautiful bill threw 15 million Americans off of health care, substantially raised premiums, and is going to have a terrible impact on nursing homes, community health centers, rural hospitals all over America. Very briefly, is that really making America healthy again?
It's going to have it's going to be the biggest infusion of federal dollars into rural health care in American history.
Yeah, you know why? Because you're cutting $150 billion for rural hospitals. You're putting $50 billion back. That's not an infusion. That's a loss of $100 billion. All right, next question. President Trump, who I don't usually agree with, called COVID vaccines, quote, one of the greatest miracles in the history of modern day medicine that saved tens of millions of lives worldwide. Scientific community agrees with Trump. Lancet study found that it prevented almost 20 million deaths during their first year of use. Secretary Kennedy, are President Trump and the medical community right, or do you still believe that the COVID vaccine was, quote, the deadliest vaccine ever made?
No, first of all, I didn't say that. Oh, I said that in terms of affairs reports a while ago. I said today, I think that President Trump should get the Nobel Prize.
So who's right? Is Trump in the medical community right, or are you right?
President Trump did an extraordinary piece of leadership.
Is he right or wrong? Did COVID save millions of lives?
As I said, he got Americans back to work. At that time, that particular vaccine, which perfectly matched the virus that was circulating then, and I have no idea how many lives it saved, but it saved quite a few.
You know, what I find a little bit weird
in this discussion, I'm hearing it over and over again this morning, Mr. Chairman, is we've got the entire medical community on one side. You got the AMA representing hundreds of thousands of doctors, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Public Health Association. All of these organizations are telling us that COVID vaccine and vaccines in general are safe and effective. You are casting doubt on that.
Safe and
Who are your
effective.
scientific, who are the organizations that are agreeing with you and casting aspersions on vaccines?
The primary advisors are Marty McCary, Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Oz, Vinay Prasad.
So you got a few doctors who agree with you, and I'm giving you the
Not a
name.
few doctors.
Bernie, you had me at safe and effective. Man, that was so good. I mean, I haven't seen any data that suggested it worked even when it was perfectly matched. It was a flawed approach, and it was a toxic approach. And it was unnecessary because you could have treated it with vitamin D and early treatment with, God bless you all in the name of the Holy Horse Paste. The Holy Horse Paste, the hydroxy, the vitamin D, the zinc, the quercetin, and the zinc ionophores, and the mysterious melatonin. I bless you all. I mean, that's the key point, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I just want to get back. I just want to hear the end of it, but I agree.
Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Oz, Vinay Prasad.
So you got a few doctors who agree with you, and I'm giving you the
Not
name.
a few doctors. What you're talking about, there's a big difference, Senator, between established science and the scientific establishment, which has been co-opted by the pharmaceutical industry.
So you're telling the American people that the American Medical Association, representing hundreds of thousands of people, have been co-opted and that they should not trust their doctors.
And I'm
the
telling
American
you,
Academy of Pediatrics, and by the way, just for the record, every single Republican, I don't mean to be political here, Mr. Chairman, has received PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. Are they all corrupt as well?
And I'm telling you, the American Heart Association has been co-opted by the food
Everybody but you, Senator. But you know what? When you ran for president, we have a corrupt campaign finance system. Maybe you will agree with me on that. Okay, you were already president, you got a billionaire behind it. You received $300,000 from people, not from the industry, people in it, as I did, from individuals. You corrupt. President Trump got $3 million. Every Republican got corporate PAC money for the pharmaceutical industry. Democrats as well. Everybody is corrupt, but you? Is that what we're looking at? I don't think so. And I think the issue now...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, I think you do know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The issue is every time anyone...
Are you saying
the pharmaceutical industry
You
was
talking to
supported by
me?
presidential campaign?
I'm saying...
I don't think...
That's what it's like.
You talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay. Hit this alert. Bernie, stop. You could go to jail.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the pharmaceutical industry is a greedy institution.
He's going to blow a stent. Watch, he blows a stent right now.
Because the highest prices in the world, they are pervasive. But to suggest that every institution, the AMA, the pediatrics people, is corrupt because they disagree with you is an insult to the American people.
Listen, people disagree with me all the time. I have arguments in my agency, heated arguments every day with Jay Bhattacharya, with Marty McCary, with Dr. Oz.
You have given the names of a few people. I have given you the names of organizations representing hundreds of thousands of doctors and scientists. I yield, Mr. President.
Boom. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Well, he's saying, there's grift on all sides. I think he talked, but that's not the point. The point is that these associations, like the American Academy of Pediatrics, is bought and paid for by Big Pharma, and they call that conflict of interest, but I call it corruption.
Yeah.
And so if Robert Kennedy's going, I got rid of him because we're getting terrible results, we're being fed bullshit, and they don't represent. They don't represent science. You know, they represent science. And then Bernie's going, oh, look, they're so good. They represent hundreds of thousands of, you know, give me
That's
a
a good
break.
question from Daniel, Paul, for what you're saying.
How much damage control would this be doing to the reputation of our federal and state health system? In Australia or in the US? Oh, you're Australian, Daniel.
Yeah, that's bad.
I argued when I was on Doc Malik that it's done. They've trashed their reputation. The only way out. So I think they should be all gone and replaced. You'd like go back, renovated back to the studs, and start again, because and make bodily autonomy and informed consent and ethics and morality and do no harm the principles again. You know, because we've lost all that. So to me, they have to actually go, oh shit, we stuffed up. We did some really stupid stuff, and we harmed a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of pregnant women, a lot of grandmothers.
Yeah.
Basically, we made mistakes. We're really sorry, and this is how we will never do it again. And then I might accept the same logo, you know, under something called a health system or some health expert, you know, because it's rotten from the point I'm making. Without the morality and the ethics, it's rotten from the studs, you know.
Yeah. I just absolutely right. I also saw here, I was meant to tell you this, someone in Canberra wants to stay, a high official wants to stay anonymous, said as the establishing Australian Centre for a Central for Disease Control, our own CDC, which will be managed by the American CDC, and we're putting 251 million over 4 years, 90 million allocated 23-24, and $73 million funding for the last year. But the thing is, when they established it, Biden was in charge. But now our CDC is going to have to come under the control of Kennedy.
Well, you know, there were some things he said that disappointed me. You know, when he, like I say, when he was trying to defend with Bernie about the shots, probably saved some lives early on when it was perfectly matched. Now, I haven't seen, like I said, I haven't seen the data on that, but I highly doubt it, even when it was perfectly matched, because it was like they were playing croquet when they should have been playing golf. You know, they missed the target so badly, and all the aspects of this COVID synthetic gene technology was toxic. You know, the lipid nanoparticles were toxic, and the payload, the spike protein was toxic, and the mechanism of action allowed it to cross all these barriers that it normally wouldn't cross, because it didn't stay in the arm, it went everywhere. And that produced like an immune attack on your brain and on your left testicle and on your right tit. And it's just like literally everywhere, and your heart. And
in my case, the brain and the testicle are in the same place. But yeah, it's true. So it's like I didn't take it. But this is true. But how much do you think, though, even though I actually think he's doing incredible stuff, because I mean, he could be killed off at any moment. And do you think he's like, his answer to Bernie is him being political, because he's got Trump here, and Trump can be vindictive if you challenge him suddenly. I can't do a Trump voice, but he used to sack people pretty quick. So I wonder how much of that is political. That's it. I'm with Tash. He's walking a fine line, you know. If he goes bananas, he could get sacked. He has to be smart in what he says. That's what I think's happening.
I do like him. I think Robin's
Steve's the same. Thanks, Steve.
Robin's criticisms are quite valid. You know, him pushing the wearables, and that last exchange when I think he went a bit soft, but it's almost like you have to. I think it's a mistake to play along with the delusion of the vaxophiles. You know.
Yeah, but I just wonder if he has to, because if they find any reason to kick him out, then he's totally ineffective. If you want to watch some great rants, everybody, click on Steve Adams' Facebook and join his Facebook. He does these great rants from the beach. There's and he's up against the Democrats. I don't think he's is scared of, but it's both his father and his uncle, or his there's been a lot of death in his family, and so I think he's playing a very difficult game. And think how, this is entrenched. It's like when I talk about Santa Claus. This is Santa Claus up where the parents don't want to admit. But I saw you putting the presents under the tree. Oh yeah, Santa asked me to because he was running late. They just don't want to fucking admit that they're lying, and so he has to. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's what's happening. Look, it's clear that we have deplorable anti-vax cookers in high places now. But that's only. But to be fair, that's only because they never tested this shit that they've been giving to our children for decades. With placebo controls. That's why the unvaccinated, vaccinated controls, any data set that has that is very important, because you can see the long-term harms if you have those sets, and you can see if there's more benefit than risk.
Yeah.
So you've got Del Bigtree talking about something that's coming up.
Oh yeah, I've got that. But look, this coming here, like someone saying, why doesn't he just do it? But I'm here with Christine. I just think RFK Jr. has to be political to get done what he wants to get done. It can't be done overnight. He's a lawyer, remember, and I agree. I'm sort of leaning that way. So I have faith in him. Yet anyway, I'll bring up Del. This is Del. So I wonder if I can bring it up this way. Actually, it's better to be in it. Bear with me. Here's Del. Another live wire. He played one of my speeches once. That was like a highlight. Where is he? Here he is.
The shit is about to hit the fan. This is a conversation.
Oh, that's such a great way to start, isn't it? You wanna get people to stick around to see the rest of the rant.
The shit is about to hit the fan. This is a conversation that has been a part of the medical freedom movement for decades. Vaccinated versus completely unvaccinated study. Guess what? The head of infectious disease at one of the most prestigious medical institutions in the world, that scientist said, I'll do that study. Just compare these two groups of children. He did that study, but they were not what he expected. In fact, the results were so horrifying and so incredibly damning, he was concerned it would destroy the vaccine program if the world ever saw it. And he buried it, locked it away, and hid it. And for years, we've been trying to figure out, how do we get this out to the public? Aaron Siri will be testifying about this very study, and we are going to premiere the trailer for the movie An Inconvenient Study, the cause of America's chronic disease epidemic exposed. This is going to be the game changer of game changers. Never before has a completely pro-vaccine institution of pro-vaccine scientists set out to compare two groups of children to prove that we were wrong and accomplish the exact opposite. You are not going to believe what they found. It's so scary, they're afraid of it, and now we're going to do something about it. I'm telling you, the shit is about to hit the fan.
Well, see, that's how we should do our show, man.
Yeah, man. We're just way too chill. We're just way too chill. But maybe it's the blue bee influence. It's just a bit, no. But funnily enough, I did a post, which is sort of, I think is a bit of a spoiler alert.
Oh, Dr. I have to say, guys, Lynette, Rumble has a few issues tonight, so we can't see the Rumble comments on our page. They're not coming through. There's something wrong with Rumble, which is unusual. Usually Rumble we don't have an issue with. I hear so I'm just going across to Rumble.
Just before you do, just to finish on that Del Bigtree.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So yeah, here's my post from a few hours ago. I suspect this is the sort of data you'll see, because this is what Paul Thomas and James Lyons Wheeler found when they were he was suspended. It's not the paper was retracted, but not by him and not by the authors. There was no problem with the data. It was retracted because they didn't like what it said, which is sort of what Del is saying. And I've heard I've heard two different things. Vigilant Fox says the data is back to 2020, but I'm hearing from Dr. Lynn Finn and Ron Cole that I think it might be 5 years ago that this study was done. But this is Paul Thomas, and you can see. Look at ADHD. It's basically absent in the unvaccinated. The blue line's unvaccinated and the orange line is vaccinated. So if you're trying to deal with an ocean of chronic disease in your society and they're suppressing this sort of data, look at the difference in asthma, rhinitis, breathing issues. ADHD is a proxy for mild autism. Basically, I was
ear pain.
Ear pain.
Look at it, though. So many people, jab people who have what's that thing, tinnitus or tinnitus or something? What do they call the ring?
Tinnitus or tinnitus, yeah. So look at anemia, huge difference, and infections. Yeah, maybe you didn't get COVID, but you're likely to get every other infection under the sun. How good is your vaccine if you end up being more likely to die from, not from the flu, but from the next other infection that comes along? So and there's the respiratory. So to me, this is here's your spoiler alert. This is Paul Thomas and James Lyons. This is from their paper, and he just looked at his own practice, and he had a large cohort of unvaccinated children in his practice, and this is what he found. So anyway,
yeah, it's interesting. Dan, Dr. Dan, sorry, Dan, I can't get your comments across tonight. Nothing from Rumble's coming through to our thing here, but he's actually given a concession that mandates are debatable. So that's huge for him. So good on him. But he's saying you can't. Science is the truth, and you can't fight the data. But the trouble is, Dan, that's what's coming out. The data is corrupt. That's what's coming out everywhere. This is it, and they've hid the data. That's what Kennedy's saying. He's in there now. He's in there. He's in it. He can access this stuff, and they've been hiding the data. And so this is, you can't trust all these scientific magazines, these peer review, where they were like the Rolls Royce of what's truth. They've all been compromised, and they've been proven to be compromised. So, who's to trust? Who can we trust? And the other thing I think about science is it never should be unknown. It's everything is literally known until something comes along to disprove it or prove something else about it. You know what I mean? So yeah. So
Michael, what I'm asking for is that the people who are testing these drugs aren't the same ones who are selling it and profiting from it. We should have independent people who don't have a financial interest in the area, let's get it through.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of science we got. And it's called conflict of interest, I know.
Yeah.
But I remind everyone, and I think RFK is reminding people, it's a polite word for corruption.
Money, huge money.
And the data, as you say, and I realize this. I know Dr. Dan has his sources, and he sends it, and a lot of them come from big names and institutions, and that was sort of what Bernie was saying too with the ACIP, I'd say the AAP, American Academy of Pediatrics. How can these organizations that represent so many doctors, who incidentally get money from these big pharma corporations, a lot of funding. And this is the problem. You're not like, my government does all sorts of things. It doesn't represent me just because I'm Australian. I'm pissed off with some of the things I'm doing. So I'm just saying, corruption. Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head there, Michael. That's
and I'm with you, Joanne. Yeah, look, if they're giving all of these politicians, like I know Bernie Sanders got a couple of million, so Big Pharma's giving all those politicians a couple of million, and a lot of our politicians have made an awful lot of money on salaries that don't make sense, how they made that much money when they got this salary and suddenly, they've gone to the pokies every night, put in their $100,000 for the day and just won every night. You know what I mean? They're lucky bastards.
You can either assume they're the luckiest bastards on the planet, or there's some sort of corruption going on.
Yeah, a little. And then they so they've made all this money. So Big Pharma is giving out millions to to all the countries, and we're talking millions maybe. Then they're obviously making more than that. So the money is no object to them. And I think it's not that we're saying that. I don't think I could even, I could actually. After all these years, I'll say it's shit. I'm not taking it. But the only penalty, the only thing that we've done wrong in the eyes of our country is question. We had the dare to question. Hey, maybe the vaccines don't work. It's like if we were in Thailand and we questioned the king. This like saying, what? You can't question them. And that's what I'm saying. And that's what I said. I said last night. So I don't want to use the B, but I'll use the back of the B. I'm saying this, if you heard it, Paul heard it anyway, but I think initially the idea of vaccines was brilliant as a way to prevent us from, dying from diseases we weren't prepared for. I think the initial concept was brilliant, but big business got involved and realized there's huge amounts of money. And once there's huge amounts of money to be made, you can forget about ethics because greed overruns everything. So what they've created by Reagan saying they can't be sued is vaccines are now a perfect business model. We've got no jab, no play. Like the Florida guy you just had on said, that's a form of slavery. Everyone has to take it. Every time a vaccine goes into someone's body, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. There's a perfect business model. And if you get injured, guess what you can do about it? Sweet fuck all, because you can't sue them. So they wrap this perfect business model in a marketing blubber, a blubber of marketing where they talk about it like it's a religion. These are gifts. We don't know. We just woke up and everyone was dying around us. And there on the pillow next to me was a vaccine. La, 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 angel singing. And we gave it and we were all saved, where it's actually not. They had some sort of caustic soda left over and go, look, we either throw it down the bin or we shove it in our baby's arms, one of the two, and then they wrap that blubber in a sort of gold packaging and stamp it with miraculous. But the only one it's miraculous for are the manufacturers, because they're the ones making the big buck, while your kids end up on the spectrum and other people end up dead and sick with all these other diseases, of which they have to go out to get medicine to treat those diseases. And who gives them the medicine? The perfect business model. I mean, it's genius. It's genius, The Catholic Church must be looking to go, hey, why don't we think of that?
Don't worry, they probably did. They're probably beginning with the grift. I mean, all the globalists. I mean, it's bad. Or look at the. I saw this posted by Kevin McKernan yesterday. You know, the cancer signals. And so he's got some data here that.
Oh, yeah. So is this linked to the data from Italy? Because we've got John Campbell ready to come on about that.
Yeah, well, you know, we've been talking about cancer a bit lately. You know, speaking of signals, you know, speaking of signals. So, and you're going to put on the John Campbell, who's talking about the
Italian data about the connection between the jabs and the rise of cancer.
And just coincidentally, Michael, we've got a new study, David Speecher, yesterday, and if I direct your attention to the blue, that's SV40. So that's the known carcinogen that Pfizer hid. And it's really, you know, it's decent levels. Look, it's sort of up there. So if you're seeing these cancer things, and then cancer blooms, and especially where, you know, it boggles the mind. But so this is the thing: more and more data is coming out that is showing. That you're not probably imagining it, that you're seeing more cancer around you. You know,
shall we play John?
Yeah, sure.
Well, a warm welcome to this talk. Now, there's been concern for some time now from talking to various experts about the increased risk of cancers, probably all types of cancers or many types of cancers.
Look at his studio. He's got a sheep that says C. He's got Orwell up there, I believe, on his second shelf.
Yeah.
I don't know who that guy is. That must be important. He's got him there. Isn't that like?
Oh yeah, John's talked about this for a while. He used to have the Ministry of Truth up there from 1984. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
No, he understands what's going on.
Yep.
Various experts about the increased risk of cancers, probably all types of cancers or many types of cancers after COVID vaccines. Now, of course, we're deprived of data in the United Kingdom between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. We just can't get that information freely. But there has been.
See how people talk? I love how people talk. See, if you're on a stage, see how he just used deprived. So it's like an iceberg. He's saying the word and it means all this stuff underneath it. That's how we really talk. So we use words, but the tone and inflection is like 40-50% of what we're communicating. He was very theatrical with it.
A study done in Italy. And what this shows is increased incidence of cancers 6 months after COVID vaccinations. Now, let's look at where we got this from. This is from this paper here. Experimental and Clinical Sciences Journal, peer-reviewed, of course, made publicly available. You can download the PDF. The full paper is there. So people that had vaccinated with at least one dose, their chances of getting colorectal cancer, the hazard ratio was 1.34. In other words, 34%. More likely to get it. This is at a 6-month follow-up. Breast cancer, 54% more likely to get breast cancer in the vaccinated group. Bladder cancer, 62% more likely to get it than the unvaccinated group.
Oh, sorry, that must be me.
Well, a warm welcome to this talk there. At least one dose. People that vaccinated with at least one dose, their chances of getting colorectal cancer, the hazard ratio was 1.34. In other words, 34%.
Okay, I got past that.
Is that 4% more in the vaccinated group? Bladder cancer.
Oh, that's it. He ended on bladder cancer. What a
yes.
And
there's more and more stuff coming out. I mean, there's Peter McCullough and Nick Halsham talked about the work of John Cantizano at Bio7.
Who was that, Nick?
Yes.
Who?
You know, Nick.
You mean
who
our
we
mate?
had on.
You mean little
I mate
Nicky?
I mate Nicky, yeah.
Go.
And it's okay. And so they can dive into what's happening with the protein manufacturing machinery, what's actually being produced by the cell, you know, what's being transcribed, what's going on, and they can see the patterns of injury in the people who receive the synthetic genetic products. You know, they've got chaos within their, you know, the genetic system is a tuned machine, and they're thrown in this synthetic glob into it, and they're getting problems with the way the protein is made, the misreading and the skipping, producing all this garbage protein. They're having changes in the immune system, which is part of it's switching off genes like BRCA. I remember Nick talked about it, BRCA and P53, the guardian of the genome. You switch off these guardians that protect your cells against cancer, and you're going to get more cancer. You know, and we threw in this gloop, which also had this SV40, as I was showing you, which is actually like a post-it note, which says, "Send this shit to the nucleus." And remember, it wasn't just mRNA. They told us they were mRNA jabs, but in Czechoslovakia, you know, when they were looking, I believe it was Czechoslovakia, where they looked in the vials, and they said there was more DNA in some of the vials than there was mRNA, and we're calling them mRNA jabs. So we're giving DNA contaminated synthetic plasmid DNA together with the Pfizer shots with this little post-it tag which says, "Send me to your nucleus." And now we're seeing evidence of integration, you know, and multiple papers are coming out now, peer-reviewed, to say that they have this plasmid shit integrated within the genome. And some of that is the construct for the spike protein. Some of that could be the SV40. So they've created I'm just saying, it's unfortunately.
No, I get it, man. I get
it's
it.
Real. It appears real. And of course, remember, I like this meme that Tony said. Oh, remember that plague that wiped out the Amish?
I saw that. Yeah, remember the plague that wiped out the Amish because they don't vaccinate their children? Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
It's,
this is the thing. This is the thing. That it's, you know, this is it. It's incredible. And it staggers me, man. It staggers me. You know.
So we've covered a bit of ground.
I still can't get over it that there's something else. It's, you know, facts and the truth have nothing to do with waking people up. There's something else. It must be, I don't know who to trust, or I don't know. I think.
Do you know what I posted? Do you know what I posted today?
I might get Lindsay to talk about it on Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he wants to talk about. I might get him to talk
do you know what I posted today? I said,
"What are you doing?"
My medical, my profession. I was just shifting. My profession doesn't need more data.
Yeah.
They need an exorcism.
That's true, man. That's true.
They've when they've been. It's almost like demonic possession. This vaxophilia that they have. It's like a fetish. It's like a fetish, you know.
What if it's not? What if, just looking at from another example, what if it's good people, right, with good intentions, who've built this enormous industry that now the industry can only survive by getting more people to take their product, and people don't want to take their products. And now, you know what I mean? So that's how the corruption is handled. So what I'm saying is, initially it might have started from good intentions, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And now, like he said, Kennedy said, America is like the sickest country in the world, and yet big pharma, that's the home of big pharma. But this is it. They can't stop themselves because the money must keep coming in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it doesn't. All the money in the world doesn't mean shit if you're dead or severely injured.
Well, they're not taking it, are they? They're not going to take their own shit, without a doubt. But if we die, I mean, I know this sounds like a conspiracy theorist, but as I've been going around Australia, I know in Newcastle and other towns, the funeral directors have been bought up by BlackRock and all those things, and they're making huge funeral parlors which have morgues. They're all in one. You know what I mean? So they vaccinate you when you're born, and then they they just milk you. Think of yourself like one of those bears in a cage with the thing coming out to get out of your spleen, except you don't see it. You're able to walk around, but that's how Big Pharma sees you, just as something to squeeze every ounce of money out of you until they bury you. Now they're still the same, And
they keep making money, even all the way through, and then they tax your estate, so the government's happy. So,
that's right.
That's cool.
And so it's just huge amounts of money. I want to do a piece on Canberra because there's a woman I've been talking to. She might come on and do an interview, and she talks about Canberra, which might be all of Australia, as the city of the golden handcuffs, where they've got such good, well-paid jobs, such great conditions, paying off really good, properties. So it's all linked with that. And the only thing, in order to keep all this lovely money coming in, you have to follow the government narrative. You can't question it. And I've been in Canberra now for 2 weeks, and everyone's saying that to me. They can't be seen. They can't be seen on my show. They can't be seen with me. They don't want to be in photographs because there will be repercussions in Canberra. And the other thing they told me today, which was really interesting, we talked to someone because Canberra didn't mandate anybody, but this is how they got around it. So say you work in the public service, Paul, as I don't know, some public servants, something. What they would say to you is, we're not going to sack you, but we can't guarantee your position, and so we'll be moving you, but we're not sure where we can move you yet. And that was the threat of going, we're thinking maybe the basement, or That's
what I was thinking. The guy in the office.
Yeah. There's the toilet cleaner. Yeah, that's right. And so that's how they did it. This is what I found, that she couldn't talk today because what she's been through. So she took it against her will. But that's how they got people to do it. And she said there was constant bullying, unbelievable bullying.
I thought that was going to be wrong. I thought we don't encourage bullying in our schools and our society. Unless it's what.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the government was a massive bully.
Yeah, they still are.
I don't know how much harder I have to flog the genetic integration news, but I was talking about Nick Helsher before, and let's play.
This entire mRNA debacle will, and I am almost certain, not fully because that's impossible to be, but I'm almost certain this mRNA debacle will come to an end within a year at the very most, right? Because I say that because now here at the McCullough Foundation, we have about over five now manuscripts being prepared for publication that will blow the lid off of this disastrous campaign. And many of these have to do with direct evidence of genomic integration. These will be in a study format, right? This will be official. and that nobody can deny this anymore. And we also are collaborating with a group of individuals. We have planned a massive, absolutely massive legislative initiative to bring forth bills in over 15 states to restrict or ban these injections. And so none of this can be stopped, right? They can't keep rolling out deadly injections for people anymore. They can't keep harming people, disabling people, injecting 6-month-olds with this technology. It will come to an end.
Yeah, well,
Man, he's so cool. What an honor that we got to chat to him, man. And he was so cool. You got him to laugh.
Yeah, he's cool. And look, I said something in response to this. It made me think, and also I talk with Dr. Roz and Fiona from the Lighthouse, and remind me that part of that discussion. Unfortunately, the
audio went. The audio
when we didn't get a chance to, because well, look, I'll just say it while we're on the topic. People should go and listen to them at the lighthousedeclaration.org and go to the roundtable, hit the roundtable tab and listen to them yourself. They're bloody good. Dr. Roz is a great researcher and a pediatrician, and Fiona is a midwife, and so they're describing their perspective and their observations around what's happening with fertility. So important stuff, guys. Keep sharing it because I know it's a hard topic. Okay, so
I'm just going to look at this thing on Twitter. You keep talking.
I just said in response to that, I said if your quote unquote vaccines produce genomic integration, maybe we should stop calling these product vaccines and start calling them gene therapy injections. And that's created a bit of a question because some people say maybe you can call it a genetic vaccine or you can call it synthetic gene products or gene transfection agents. Okay. Just to be clear, my issue with the term
this entire mRNA.
Nick, we love you. The issue is that they use the word vaccine, like I said in my testimony 4 years ago.
Yeah.
They called it a vaccine, so they didn't do this freaking testing.
That's right.
They didn't do the testing for genotoxicity, for the ability to produce cancer, the oncogenicity. That's why, I was warning them 4 years ago that the potential outcomes could be, very serious. And it all stemmed from the lie that they called them, or just calling them vaccines so we don't have to do these tests. They skipped the tests by calling the vaccine. And I actually, I was thinking those mRNA plants that they have in Melbourne and Sydney.
Yep.
Those gene therapy plants, I almost see them as the concentration camps in our midst.
Yeah, man.
They're
terrifying.
They're building them, and they're the concentration camps of our people in our midst.
Yeah.
And this is why, the question of mandates and ethics and morality and human rights and individual rights, sovereign rights.
Yeah.
It's just so important. And if we fall on this, we fall on everything. I think Joseph Ladapo was right. So
I'm listening. I'm just getting a tweet ready for the thing. I just want to.
Oh well, just before I finish. So
yeah, sure.
I did. So I did this post in 2021. The humanity is at a hard fork, and I compared the DNA, RNA, the genetic code to crypto, and how they forked Bitcoin. And I said, my point is, all life we know and love on this planet is written in the same code, different operating system, uses DNA, RNA, nucleic acid, still a code. And for the first time, we're hacking this machinery with codes that could not have arisen in nature.
Yeah.
This is why I say synthetic. And this is a kind of hard fork for the species.
Yeah,
and while I
100%, man.
Okay, so that was, and then I say in response to all this evidence of integration, I hate to say this, I think we're forked.
Well, look, on the same page, I'll just bring this up. This really threw me today. And listen to this, young man. It's my computer's really slow. So listen to this young guy. I'll make it bigger. How's that? All right, that's about as big as it gets.
IDs for social media this year. There's only one.
Hello.
One system advanced enough to pull it off on the market.
Maybe I'll just sit here.
Chinese social credit system.
Oh, well. My internet's got extraordinarily slow at the moment. I don't know why, but what he goes on to say is that the only system able to do what they want to do is the Chinese system, which means they've got everything in place for the social credit score system, which is, this is basically a form of enslavement. It's not just about us accessing the internet. It's about them putting on the initial chains of slavery. They've already done it.
No, it's not the initial, Michael. The last 5 years, they've tested it. They've tested the prison. They've set up all the sentry boxes, the surveillance, this is them switching on the system.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Sorry, Paul.
They've already built it. They've tested it. This is the final spot where they go, yeah, fire, hit the button, and it's energized and it's just done.
Yeah, I agree with you, Paul. That's actually more right to say. And so this is a really interesting thing. A lot of people are asking me now, what are we going to do about digital ID? And guess what? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how we're going to keep Cafe Lockout going. I don't know how it's really interesting. What I do know is that that march last weekend was I saw somebody say 2% of the population were at that march, of the Australian population. And it takes, according to Harvard University, 3.9% of the population to get behind something to actually affect change in a democracy. So we're less than halfway there, so it's 3.9. We had 2%. We need 3.9%. So on the 13th, we're marching. I'm coming to Sydney to march. I'm going to march with my doc here, my man, my march mate. And he's great to hide behind when the rubber bullets find. He's great. Yes. And he can heal himself since he's a doctor. But this is it. Regardless of having the Nazi boys there, the march itself was just lovely. It had echoes of Epic to it, where people are very friendly to each other, and there's something beautiful about it. You know what I mean? And there was no violence that we saw at all. I think one young girl on the street gave me the finger, and but that might not have been anything to do with the Australian flag. Could have just been the beard. I don't know. Anyway, but there's but how about you, Paul? You didn't see any violence, did you?
No. Sydney was peaceful. My understanding is that the next march coming up on Saturday is also about the same issues, and in dealing with digital ID and basically the sense that Australians don't feel like if you can't wave your own flag in your own country, you know, you may be in occupied territory, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Lydia Thorpe trying to defend the fact that she banned the Aussie flag in the Senate, and yet she said nothing about the burning of the Australian flag by the Palestinians. So she supports the burning of our flag, but she doesn't support the. I mean, this is, you could see her looking at it and trying to word it, but you're just going, can you actually hear yourself, girl? Can you hear yourself? It doesn't make sense. Hey, P. Schmiel, I'm just getting you the link now, just trying to, unless the shop's been taken down. And so what we had, I just got to tell you quickly, actually. So we got the, you might have seen the ad we did yesterday, the Facebook Live, cost us $5 million to get made by Spielberg. And we're selling the Be Free stickers. These are the first ones. The first ever sticker was stuck to the side of Florence. And the 5 for 25, 5 for 25, that includes postage. But we've had a few issues with the links. So Cal's about to put them on Facebook Marketplace for now. So we'll have links tomorrow. And I'm just trying to see. I got it. So come here. We've actually got someone watching. I haven't told you, Paul, but we've actually got a YouTube page. They don't know, Cafe Lockdown's back on YouTube. You didn't hear it from me, but we've got a YouTube page, and YouTube hasn't taken us down. I don't know why. You know, they
just mute us. They just mute us in multiple countries.
Yeah, that's right.
For violating your own copyright.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, I mean, it's so.
But you can watch the pictures. We're quite good as a silent show, you know. So I'm sure it'll go well on Meta, you know, in those silent countries.
Yes, I'm just getting, whoever asked about a link for these caps, I'm just going to put the link up now. But God, the internet's so slow. And yeah, so what was I talking about then?
I wonder if
okay, update on Paul. The jury goes out tomorrow. I wrote a piece about him today. I've had to edit it a bit. The boys wanted a few things taken out, which is fair enough. And but I do think we should talk about how, jokes aside, how the state now, with their propaganda army, which is MSN and ABC, are painting us with two brushes: Nazis on one side and sovereign citizens on the other. You know, just really trying to paint us as these terrible people. And I want to talk about that. Why, how we fight back with that. You know what I mean? Because we're not that. We're not. Yeah. Okay.
I was going to say speak for yourself, but no, I don't think. But I've taken the label. You know, they call me whatever. They can call me you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change what's important are the principles we stand for, and
yes,
you know, the blokes for babies. You know, protecting our future generations, protecting the freedoms inherent in our culture. You can burn everything else down, but keep our freedoms, you know?
Yeah.
Look, I've got another thing from a clip from the Senate hearing.
Yeah, go.
Which I think is quite interesting. This is Senator Ron Johnson.
My committee's got now over 8 million pages of information. Just in the first tranche, by the way, what we discovered is that CDC, somebody in the federal health agencies, this interagency communication, hid the signal. They admitted there was a signal on myocarditis, and they hid it. They didn't warn the public. They didn't warn doctors. So that's just one instance of corruption and lies told by the CDC. We've got a lot of others. We'll be rolling out. Okay, so we held our first hearing and permanent subcommittee investigation on that hiding of the signal myocarditis. We've heard a lot of studies. Okay, as I've looked into science, it's been thoroughly corrupted. Here's data, and I'd like to enter this sheet into the record. I've been publishing this chart for, since really early 2021.
Me too, Ron. It got blocked lots of times. But yeah, I've been sharing this early on. At the top, you can see the deaths and adverse effects from ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine over decades, compared to the huge numbers that within a short time was racking up to the COVID vaccines. But that's just by the way.
When I'm on, for example, talk radio shows and they talk about this, they get deplatformed, or they were, because of all the censorship in the Biden administration. Here's the facts. The VAERS system that was touted in October of 2020, this great safety surveillance system on COVID. A few months later, when they didn't like the results, they started denigrating their own system. But VAERS shows that there have been 38,742 deaths reported on VAERS worldwide associated with the COVID vaccine. 38,742. 9,252 of those deaths occurred on the day of vaccination within 1 or 2 days. Again, wow. I agree with you. Nobody knows how many COVID deaths were because the information was completely corrupted. Nobody knows how many lives were saved by the COVID. Again, I think most people, okay, if you're vulnerable, raise your antibodies, reverse severity, fine. There's not any good study on that. There's just information out there, just claims being made. This is hard evidence. My committee's.
Yeah, so, but the vaxophiles love their antibodies. It's like next to the vaccine, they pay homage to the antibody, as if it actually means something and is validated. I mean, some antibodies can be, but so Ron Johnson, corruption and lies,
Yeah, I'm with you, Victoria. I still can't believe it's still going on, and it's just yeah. What time does the live start in Melbourne next Sunday? Let's ask the audience that. I'm not sure, so I'll put that to the audience. Now, who else out there? My lovely mother, who I'm trying to get to see. I'm trying to get to Perth. Other things keep happening, stopping me. Told my father that Michael's a sovereign citizen. And when we were at court the other day, another woman said, yeah, that's my mum said that to me too. So how many people in the audience have had friends or family go to them, are you one of these sovereign citizens? This is how effective they are with their hate. I love the fact the government comes in, we've got to stop hate speech, we've got to stop hate speech. And they're the ones that spread hate speech more than anybody. You know what I mean? They're just so toxic in how they govern. They just can't govern from it. Literally, when have we seen the Prime Minister sit down with a lotus day of young people who can ask him anything they want and actually try answer them questions about where are we going to have houses? What's our future? They don't do it. It's all him with that stupid, that smiley face, and I'm sorry, but but yeah, it does. It doesn't look like he's gay. So, because I'm not putting gays down at all, but it looks like if he's not gay, he's trying his best to be gay. This is a straight man trying his best to be gay expression as if something that's going to help. I know it's just bizarre, but he's never unhappy, and he's got people living under bridges, the suicide rate through the roof, all these vaccine injured people, and he's always just got party face on, except when people are booing him, like at this football, where he looks miserable. Like, are they doing that to me? It's just, yeah, it's just such a bizarre time. And then we've got Dan Andrews, who's no longer in politics, meeting ping pong ball, whatever he's called, Jiang Ping thing. The head of China. What's his name?
Xi, President Xi.
Yes, Xi. Sorry, and meeting him. Why is he meeting him? He's not our leader anymore. We just sit there.
Well, he's obviously done some good work for President Xi to be honored in that way. Good work. Yeah. Good work for the Chinese Oops. I don't think it's a good look. I mean, at the moment in America, they're saying, do you want leaders who have dual passports, and who do you really have fealty to? Which one of your passports? You know, you got to make a choice which country you stand for. I wouldn't be surprised if Dan is found to have sold out the people of Victoria.
Really?
He certainly behaved like he did.
Fighting war. I think if he likes China so much, he should stay in China. I can see him next to Xing, you know, just standing next to him all the time, going, "Look, boss, the plane. It's the plane." You know, I can see it. You know, he'd be really happy there. You know, because no one builds his house here. No one will build a house for him. In China, they can build him a house. You know?
Oh, they're building a big house. Don't worry, Dan. The big house.
Big house.
This. I don't know if.
That's right, Liz. Dan putting the finishing touches on digital ID criticism for us. Amen, Liz.
I've got this also from the hearing. If I can get it.
Yeah, cool. Play whatever you want. I'm out of everything.
This is from the end of the hearing. A short one.
And one of them had a safety study that lasted for 4 days on 143 kids. A product that's going to be given to 76 million kids. The risk profile prior to the introduction of the vaccine, the risk of a baby dying from hepatitis B was 1 in 7 million. That means you need to give 7 million hepatitis B vaccines to prevent one death if you're going to give 7 million.
So, Mr. Stick, and I guess before that.
So, you know,
it's interesting that it's ended by bold black guys, isn't it? Anyway.
Okay, so he's talking about the Hep B vaccine, right? So that's the one that you catch through intravenous drugs and sex, unprotected sex, and they give it within minutes or hours of being born, and to the extent that it offers protection in case they take up, you know, maybe by 2 they're hitting the smack. You know,
in case it gets smacked from the back, the baby turns around. Hey, doc, you want to treat me like that? I'm gonna have to shoot up. You know?
Yeah. So if it gets, what the point I'm making is it's waning immunity, but that's not even the key thing. It's just like patently insane that they're giving this to every child, and this is the same one that CDC, one of the CDC officials who resigned over RFK's AHPRA leadership committee and his leadership, the same one who clearly has a real fetish for vaccines, as Ron Paul puts it, the same one who has a fetish, who has apparently has a tattoo of a pentagram. I didn't look at his tats that closely, but you know, he's got a boyfriend in a dog costume. I didn't see a leash, but that's not the point. The point is that these are the people
you get a fine for that, no leash.
who literally have a fetish for vaccines and injecting our newborns, and what Kennedy was reminding us there, as one of the important point. 143 kids, they follow them up for 4 days and then give it to millions and millions and millions.
I know.
I mean,
it's evil.
In what universe is any of this acceptable? So
no, it's evil. It doesn't even sound like human. What species would do that to its own people? I mean, it's just shit. I was just thinking that.
That's why I got angry. That's why I got angry.
Yeah, I agree with you, Paul.
And I said, keep good riddance that you resign and keep the fuck away from our children. You know?
Yeah, 100%. I saw this one plus a bloody statue about. I was just thinking when I said bring on the pigeons for sure. I reckon we should let them build the statue, and then we can make money for our movement by selling near the statue human-sized pigeon suits. Just so once you've got your pigeon suit on, you can, you know, do pigeon.
You can make it a day. You can make it a day. You know,
little ladders going up so you can reach his head and just. Yeah, I reckon if the statue goes up, I reckon 2 days it'll be finished, unless they've got 24-hour security guards. You know.
Well, it's hard to believe that he could
Or
garner
they could
much
put a crack
respect.
in the statue's ass, and we could use that as a machete bin. That'd work, you know. So you could just.
That's genius. That's genius. Now, for the money they spent on those machete bins, they could have made them into life's, you know, giant statues of.
Yeah, that's right, Chris.
Dictator Dan. They could have, yeah.
Yeah, man.
So
this is going to be the most endangered statue on the planet. Yeah, I'm not doing anything to it though. There's, yeah, but back up where I do think though that one of the reasons that we can get attacked, and painted sovereign citizens and these other things is, well, the Nazi people have uniforms, and this is what I've been saying. This is why we're trying to look for a symbol that we can wear, which sort of says, well, this is who we are. So we come down the road, it's either the blue beers or whatever it is the community decides. But I think there's something, this is why we're just testing this. I think we need something that goes, this is who we are. And the things behind the blue bee, I mean, the blue bee still wants to be a part of society, you know, pollinating flowers by vibrating above them. But it doesn't follow a queen, doesn't live in a hive. So it wants to be a free thinking member, but essential member of society. You know, it still wants to be a part of a society, but it wants to be sovereign. And did I say that? Did I say that?
You can say the word sovereign. I mean, ASIO doesn't have a
sovereign bee.
ASIO
face mask. Anyway, there's I won't sell that one. It's okay. I won't sell that one. There's we were woken by your song at 2 a.m. I don't know, but it wakes us up and was so beautiful. Hey, P. Schmiel. That's thanks. I don't know what song that was. Anyway, now that's the other thing I was going to say about AI, and this is something for us to use. There's people are sending me AI songs all the time. I need these songs in sort of a video that I can use. So if you've got an AI song, figure out how to do a video to it, and if we like it, we'll play it in the openings, because I'm playing my songs. Oh, thanks, Mill. Q Park Lullaby. Thank you. That's based on a true story. But there's, I think we should use them. So last night, I was just thinking, as I was watching a documentary, and it was like midnight or something, I was just thinking about so many of us want to hit the road, and as if somewhere in the great outdoors, there's a place where we can all be safe and there's enough stuff to support us. But we live on the road, and basically everything's a barbed wire fence. You know, there's most of the country you can't reach because it's all fenced off, and so it's there and it's beautiful, but there is actually nothing there to support you. If we're gonna, basically there's nowhere to run to, really. You know, we've got to make it happen where we are. And I was thinking about those people who want to run away, and I just came out with that song called, you know, the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence. I'm going to play it at the end, but what I'm telling you is this took me like 40 minutes with AI, then I went to bed and did the video in the morning. But this is something we can do. If something affects you and you're poetical and you do it in poetry, and AI is amazing. You muck around with it as well. We use Suno. And so we can have fresh, new protest songs, and this is a form of protest song coming up constantly. So I recommend trying it out and seeing how you go. It's very cheap to use, very easy to use. It's called Suno, and yeah. Now it's almost.
And they don't even sponsor us, Michael. They don't even sponsor us.
Actually, no, we do. We got a lot of people, everyday people sponsor us on Patreon, I think, and Substack and other things. So we do have, you know, but we don't have businesses or anything like that sponsoring us as yet. No, but that might change.
we're sponsored by the Blue Bee community, and
That's right.
and you
It's
know,
our
Cafe
God.
Lock.
Anyway, so
I've got one more clip.
yeah, go.
If, you know, just to, I don't know if it's a bow, but here we go. Oh,
seems to me one of the biggest problems that we have in America today is the trustworthiness of the information that we actually receive from the news media and from any other source. And obviously, the easiest thing for our Democratic colleagues to do is to scare people because that is a powerful emotion, no matter what the facts may be. Do you believe COVID-19 was politicized?
Yeah, the whole process was politicized. Senator, I mean, we were lied to about everything. We were lied to about natural immunity. We were lied to about, we were told again and again the vaccines would prevent transmission, they'd prevent infection. It wasn't true. They knew it from the start. It wasn't true because that's what the animal studies and the clinical trials showed. We were told that there was science behind cloth masks. The CDC allowed the teachers union to write the order closing our schools, which hurt working people all over the country, and then pretend it was science-based. All of these issues, and then I can show you, like, for example, Chairman Wyden was talking about me politicizing ACIP. During COVID, probably the most famous scientist on ACIP was Martin Kulldorff from Harvard, the great world-renowned epidemiologist and vaccinologist. And he criticized the COVID booster mandates. They ejected him from COVID because he wasn't in the orthodoxy. The two biggest health officials at FDA during COVID, Dr. Gruber and Dr. Krause, criticized the Biden mandates, vaccine mandate. President Biden said in August, I would never take that vaccine, the Trump vaccine. And he came in, he mandated it, and then he fired the two top health officials at FDA who said, hey, this thing has not been properly tested. So the whole process was politicized, and even today.
So let me, in 15 seconds. So I think you answered yes. It was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that getting back on topic, I told you so. Yeah, we were lied to about everything.
That's it. In other words, that video was AHPRA, I told you so.
Yeah.
This is it.
We, and RFK is just saying that. And he's sacking people who are corrupt. And he's discounting and removing the people who are controlled by, big pharma and corporate interests. And he's talking about getting back to the data, and just reiterating, this has gone beyond data now. This is a question of whether we're going to be ruled according to free will and individual rights. And to my mind, no one put out a message that informed consent has gone away. Even our laws, but even without the laws, even beyond the laws, we have these rights as living human beings, and we shouldn't let them get away with, it's the data. No, it's not about data anymore. It's about, are we human beings endowed with rights, or are we already slaves and have to do what the government tells us?
Yeah, I think that's what's at stake. I'm in the Joanne Ambrose camp. I have faith in RFK. And we can, and that's the lovely thing about our community. Like here now, people are actively disagreeing. Great. We don't live in the cancel. You don't think like me? It's like cancel. It's great. We can disagree on things. You know what I mean? So, yeah. What about the Hippocratic Oath? It seems to be gone. Dawn, Dr. William Bay told us that basically doctors haven't had to pledge the Hippocratic Oath for decades. So no, they're not actually bound by it anymore. Alrighty.
I did. I remember doing it, Michael.
Yeah,
I
like I said,
remember
decades
thinking,
ago. You're old, man.
yeah, I am a bit old.
We're both old. I saw a picture of me today with no beard, jet black hair, my little boy in my arms. You know, this is like 20-something years ago. Now look at me, man. I'm an old man. I'm an old man. I'm Bernie.
You know, there's been a bit of mileage the last few years, but
yeah,
look, we're still kicking. And wouldn't it be great if this this march had even more people who were sort of fed up with government lies and mismanagement and corruption? And wouldn't it be great if, you know, people with blue bee hats were leading it instead of dodgy guys in black outfits, you know, goose stepping or not, you know.
100%.
And I think that's what might manifest. We'll see. But that's the sense I'm getting. There's an opportunity.
Right. So, yeah, sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
No, that's my hope, and that's my sense of what may be coming. You know, the same much or bigger. People who want to get our country back, be proud of it, fly our flag, have a fair go, and be treated with respect and human rights.
I wonder if it'll be as big. I hope it is. I hope people spread it. Yeah, I do think a lot of guys turned up last time because I hate to say it, but I was telling Robin tonight that I think there was a chance that there could be a rumble. And I think some men turned up thinking, well, if there's, you know, with the Palestinian marches, if anything happens, because they burnt the flag. So I don't know. I'm just tagging along as an observer. It's interesting to see. Willem Kippel says, what does the male blue bee look like as the one we have is a single mother? That's true. It is a single mother. The blue bee, the only way to tell them apart is the blue bee's got blue balls, which is, you know, which is a danger when it lands on a cactus, but it's actually, you know, they're actually really little balls. That's how you tell them apart, which could be good for earrings, you know, could be clip on by the little balls, could clip on, you know, something like, or nose ring, you know, like that. Could clip on.
Are you inferring that the movement have blue balls?
No, just you know, I'm
just
not saying. I reserve my. I'll reserve my right to comment or whatever the politicians say. Doctor. Oh, we've got a question for you, Doc, from someone watching us on YouTube. So.
YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't know we could broadcast on YouTube.
I know. This is like our first question from YouTube. Oh, actually, we've had a few today from P. Schmiel. Dr. Paul, how did you manage talking to colleagues about COVID? I find mine are still heads buried. Oh, it's a doctor. I feel mine are still heads buried in the sand and in denial.
Yeah, look, I was pretty frank. But it was really surreal. The whole thing was really surreal because for me it started critical about masks. I said this mask business doesn't work. This is, you know, you really need something much better than what they're offering. So I was critical, and then but they were listening still then somewhat, and then I started talking about early treatment. And I was begging him, please give him vitamin D. Have you tried some ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine on any of these people? A bit of zinc, you know, vitamin C. Can you just give something? And they just, you know, they laughed it off. It was heartbreaking because I thought that we could save lives and we didn't have to do the same mistakes that the Americans did. And frankly, they just they thought that in the warm embrace of their protocols and their government that they would be safe and that they would never be held accountable for breaches of informed consent. Personally, and I've watched governments like the Austrian government make it quite clear that it'll come to our individual practitioners. They're going to offload it on the people who gave it because those obligations never went away, you know, to tell the truth, to give the full risk-benefit ratio.
Which
and
they
not
couldn't
to
do because
coerce.
they didn't have all the information. So the
No, they
doctors
didn't.
couldn't actually do it because they didn't know what was in it.
But they're going to carry the can. And I said, actually, if I'm right about how bad this could get, you're not. I don't know how bad this could get, but it could be like when I was in New Guinea, and if the family members think you harmed their relative, they had payback. You know, they would come after you, and you'd have to leave the country. You know, so I was pretty frank about but many didn't want to hear anything.
No, I know. That's one of the mysteries of our age is how the human condition works this way. You know, my computer's very slow. Maybe my computer's dying. Yeah.
It could be
anyway, that's almost 2 hours. Is there anything else you wish to say? I've got to get back to court this morning.
I think I've offloaded enough. We did touch on RFK's testimony.
Yeah, I'm going to stream the whole thing too. I actually really want to watch it. You know, I think it'd be fascinating. And anything else? This is like this. Yeah, sorry, guys. I don't know why Rumble didn't come through today. So it is on Rumble, but I'll just have a quick check of the Rumble things. No, my computer's too slow to do Rumble. Don't know how the shit show. Yeah, no worries, Doc. You're welcome. You're out. I think there's only 2 people watching on. Yes, 2 people watching on YouTube. So 2 people. Once we get to 1 million, we make $2.
Oh, we won't last that long.
Oh, I'm amazed we last this long. The trolls will be going, they're on YouTube, and they'll be, you know, yeah. If you want to find us on YouTube, trolls, I called the page Batshit Crazy Cookers. Stop them in. And stuff like that. So yeah, no. So we got about. I haven't checked Rumble. We've got about 1,000 people watching, or close to 1,000. So, which is nice. Which does my head in. Actually, I can't believe it. There's YouTube never paid. That's right. So thanks for a good night. We were going to play the whole thing, but in the end, that would have taken like 4 hours, and yeah. So. I'll just play it. I don't want to hit anything which gets rid of the big guy. So, yep, the link will be up for the stickers soon. And I'm not telling you, you know, they're very small. They take a bit, but once you get on, you know, they're really cute. So it'd be great to stick them to people who are not on our side and go, hey, look, you know, just stick it on their cars. That'd be fun. So, yeah.
And Michael, a closing comment, if I may. I just typed in lighthousedeclaration.org. Yes. It's about freedom of speech and the right to speak without censorship, which is sort of called democracy and science, you know, before the communist takeover or whatever it was. So please go to lighthousedeclaration.org, come and sign the declaration. Sign the declaration, and you'll see at the top there roundtables. If you click on that, fertility in crisis and at medicine at the tipping point. And if you click on fertility in crisis, there it is, and you'll be able to see the wonderful people we've been talking to in the fertility side of this shit show.
Yeah, sorry, we had supposed to have a third show up, but there was just something went crap with the audio, so I'm really sorry. We can't.
But you can see them there. That's how you do it. People go to the website.
Yeah, that's
go
true.
watch.
That's true. Good luck for Paul tomorrow. Oh, Paul Offie. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see how he goes. You know, I think there's it's an amazing case. It's been a staggering 2 weeks, and what it proves to me is that, as Michael Offie says, the system is not designed for innocent people. You know, Paul would have to raise $250,000. He was only given a few weeks to do so once they said to go to court. Can't do it. So you're going against the system that's basically, it's all their language, all their legal jargon. They know all the tricks. And you're going up there, you know, it's, yeah. It's and people saying, oh, they didn't ask the right questions, or they didn't do this. And I was a part of the critics too, thinking, why don't you say this? But we couldn't do it because we can't reach them. So there's only Paul there with his Mackenzie friend next to him. His Mackenzie friend has been a rock, and I guess they're just doing the best they can. So we'll find out how the jury. I actually think the jury would be a brilliant play. Not that no one would ever put it on anymore. But if there's one or two people in that play, in that jury, who are on our side or even unvaccinated, I mean, literally, this whole 5 years could be battled out in that jury room, with Paul either the beneficiary or the victim. You know, because they have to have a consensus. They can't have a hung jury. They have to be all guilty or not guilty unanimously. So, you know, it's amazing. I'd love to be a fly on the wall. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, yeah. So anyway, that's it, guys. I'm raving on. So anyway, think too about getting your creative heads out. Anybody getting on one of the music sites, making new music. There's a few people sending me songs, and I've got a little bit of time at the moment, so I'm getting around to them. Kelly and I are doing everything, so we're just a little bit behind, but we are catching up. Even the essays got sent off to John today, so hopefully the essay should be published soon. Okay, that's it.
All right, beautiful
Love
people.
you, big guy. Have a good day. Hey, Paul, what's that blue bee on your head?
It's my God. God is.
Chang bought a van and decked it out. Showed us all, had all he needed. Could park it anywhere, free as a bird. But when he flew, he found out fast that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence. I'm not staying here when the shit goes south, and the shit seems to be already here. I've a backpack with all my needs. Trouble is, when I dream, all I find is that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence. I'm sure my grandfather left freedom here, unless my eyes were open when I was born. But this world has left me blind. Is that right, Mother? Am I blind? I'm sure I smelled freedom once in the backwood forests of your eyes. How do you say hide with me, or how else will we there's an exodus. Heading out of town. Their faces are up, but their eyes are down. There's a sun that seems to be shining upside down. And around and around. Upside down and around and around. Upside down and around and around. Until we reach the outskirts of town, where we find time and time again that the great outdoors is a barbed wire